You see it all the time on job sites across the UK. A contractor turns up with a big, heavy trailer-mounted rig, cranks the engine up to 3,000 psi and starts blasting away at a customer's Indian sandstone patio. And initially, it looks like a miracle, doesn't it? The top layer of black muck just strips away, the stone lightens up, and the customer is standing at the back door clapping their hands. But here is the problem. You have not actually solved the issue at all. What you have actually done is leaves up to 40% of the lichen hyphae, that is the living root structure, completely trapped inside the stone's microscopic capillaries. And what happens? Well, give it 12 weeks, maybe 16, the damp British weather returns, and those black spots come roaring right back. The customer calls you back furious, asking why their expensive patio looks worse than it did before you cleaned it. And frankly, they have every right to ask. To understand why high pressure fails so miserably on sandstone, you have to look at the material itself. Indian sandstone is a fine-grained sedimentary stone largely quarried in Rajasthan. Because of how it formed over millions of years, its structure is full of microscopic pores, little voids, and delicate capillaries. It is extremely porous. When biological spores, whether it is black spot lichen, green algae, or cyanobacteria, land on that stone, they do not just sit on top like dirt on glass. As noted in industry research, black spot lichen is particularly stubborn because it does not simply sit on top of the patio. It anchors itself right down inside those tiny pores. It grows hyphae, little root systems that dig deep into the matrix of the rock to find moisture and shelter. Now, when you hit that with 3,000 psi of raw water pressure, water cannot reach down into those microscopic voids without destroying the surrounding material. So the high pressure literally erodes the stone's natural binder, roughing up the surface, opening up even larger pores, while leaving the deep-rooted organism completely alive and intact inside the rock. You have basically created an even better home for future growth while damaging the customer's stone. It is a complete disaster, really. I remember a site observation a while back. I was watching a technician set up on a beautiful sandstone terrace. The sun was out, the stone was bone dry, and he was eager to get his chemical on. He filled his sprayer with sodium hypochlorite and went straight to work, spraying active chemicals straight onto that hot, dry, thirsty stone. And immediately, you could see what went wrong. The dry stone acted like a sponge. It instantly sucked the chemical deep into the pores in random patches before the liquid could even spread out across the surface. The result? A patchy, streaky mess with uneven surface bleaching in some spots, and active biological growth left totally untouched right next to it. That is why proper site preparation and pre-wetting are absolutely non-negotiable. When you pre-wet porous sandstone with fresh water first, you fill those deep internal capillaries with moisture. That prevents the stone from greedily grabbing your active chemical all in one spot, allowing your SoftWash mix to sit uniformly on the outer surface where the lichen crown lives, breaking down the organic staining evenly without causing localized shock or bleaching to the stone itself. So how do we actually clear black spot lichen safely and completely? It comes down to chemical precision rather than brute force. We use professional grade sodium hypochlorite, typically at a stock strength of 14 to 15%, diluted down to the correct working ratio for the job. But applying SH alone on a vertical stone edge or textured sandstone slab is only half the battle. Sodium hypochlorite on its own has very high surface tension. It wants to bead up, run off, or sink straight past the surface into the jointing sand, leaving the actual lichen colonies unwashed. This is where a dedicated SoftWash surfactant like CleverWash becomes critical. A quality surfactant breaks that surface tension completely. It allows the active chemical solution to cling, to spread evenly, and to sink steadily into every tiny pit and texture on the stone surface instead of pooling in the joints or evaporating into thin air. It gives you the dwell time you need. Chemistry needs time to work. You cannot rush oxidation. By keeping the target surface wet and active with a foaming surfactant blend, the sodium hypochlorite can completely break down the dark protective pigments of the lichen and kill the underlying cellular structure without relying on destructive water pressure. Now, once you have oxidized the visible growth and rinsed the surface thoroughly, you are still only halfway through a true professional process. Remember, no cleaning chemical permanently stops nature. Airborne spores are constantly floating around from nearby garden beds, overhanging trees, and neighbouring roofs. If you walk away after just rinsing off your hypochlorite treatment, that clean, exposed stone is ready to receive fresh spores the moment the next rain shower hits. That is why we implement a two-stage protection method. After the initial oxidation clean is finished and neutralized, we apply a secondary post-treatment using a residual biocide such as DDAC or BAC, quaternary ammonium compounds. Products like SoftWash Pro 50 DDAC act as a slow-acting residual barrier. While hypochlorite gives you that instant visual result, DDAC stays behind in the stone matrix, quietly preventing new spores from germinating and taking hold over the coming months. It turns a temporary quick fix into a genuine long-term maintenance solution for the property owner. Look, the days of being a splash and dash cleaner who just blasts everything with high pressure are over. Modern customers want professional standards. They want contractors who actually understand surface diagnosis, chemistry dwell times, environmental protection, and non-destructive cleaning methods. When you can walk a client around their property, explain exactly why their Indian sandstone requires low-pressure soft washing, show them how pre-wetting protects the stone, and explain how a two-stage chemical process prevents rapid recolonization, you immediately set yourself apart from 90% of the competition. Mastering these techniques is what builds real customer trust and lets you charge what your work is actually worth. If you are serious about raising your technical knowledge, understanding cost compliance, and protecting your business with proper qualifications, I strongly encourage you to look into structured training. You can explore our CPD certified SoftWash training course and check out the approved SoftWash applicator directory over at softwashing.uk. Investing in your knowledge will always bring a better return than just buying a bigger pressure washer. Work smarter, clean safer, and treat every surface with the science it deserves.